Nick Christian, woo! Is from a small town of Covington, Ohio, just 30 minutes north of I-75. He has lived in Dayton for the past 5 years while completing an MBA at Wright State University and performing music with local country artist Clark Manson. You might recognize him as that guy who is always in downtown coffee shops studying. Nick Christian.
Thank you very much. So when I was 18 years old, a group of friends and I started a music festival called the Miami Valley Music Fest. I started a nonprofit group that took money raised by that festival and we donated it to local charities. We became known as the festival where charity rocks. The event grew year after year and I loved it. Despite the hours spent drafting bylaws, the chaos at the event, bands always running late, if you're a musician you know how that goes, I still loved it. But the feeling that I loved most always happened on the last night of the festival, when I could escape from my duties for a bit and watch the last act perform. But I wasn't just watching the band, I was watching the crowd and how much fun they were having. I helped create that fun, and that was a great feeling to see. One time I performed with a band at the Miami Valley Music Fest called Harrison Lane. It was a brother-sister duo named Doug and Dee. I was a family friend of theirs, and they recruited me to go to the studio with them one summer. I played bass on all the tracks and played guitar on one track. I even sang backing vocals with them on one track. And I'll never forget that song. It had a really cool minor to major key transition where Doug belted out the line, "We can make it if we try." 8 years later, and it's April 7th, 2017, I'm sitting on a park bench in Havana on an overcast Friday morning. I get a text. "Did you hear about Doug?" The next text drilled into my core. "He died." I froze. What? Doug had battled addiction in the past, but it was something that he and his family kept in private. And why? Doug was so young, playful, and intelligent. He was creative and determined. He even messaged me the week prior saying he was saving money to move to Austin, Texas. I just closed my eyes and prayed it was a dream. At the viewing, they played Harrison Lane's album on repeat. It was the only thing that kept me from breaking down in tears. A flood of memories washed over me with every song. I remembered the happiness, the glimmer in Doug's eyes while recording vocals, and his smile was always contagious. The memories made it seem as though he was still alive, but there was his casket. This contradiction made me think that perhaps his death could have been prevented. So throughout all of this, attending medical school at Wright State University, Boonshoft School of Medicine. After endless hours of studying and gallons of coffee, in just a week, I will officially have the letters MD after my name. And for those of you that know me, I'm just as scared as you are to have me as your doctor. I'm so thankful for the past 5 years that Dayton has given me. I honestly couldn't have asked for a better city to study, work, and play in. The unfortunate truth is that Montgomery County has the second highest level of drug overdoses in Ohio, a state with the fourth most drug overdoses in the country. The fortunate truth is that there are people in our city trying to change this. Through a community health rotation, I met leaders of the Community Overdose Action Team, or the COAT, an interagency collaboration between Montgomery County, Public Health Dayton and Montgomery County Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services. I was so impressed by the scope of the organization, with branches focusing on prescription opioids, treatment and recovery, prevention, collateral response, and more. Every meeting I attended, I met more and more inspiring people. People like Scott Weidel, who has lost several family members to addiction and is committed to passing state legislature to limit prescription opioid abuse. People like Gail Daffler of Goodwill Easter Seals, who's distributing education and medication disposal kits throughout the city. People like Emily Surico, local law enforcement, and families of addicts, who are going door to door after overdose calls to see if that household needs resources or support. These are just a few examples of the courageous people taking action in this city. Their actions inspired me to not only get involved, but to get my peers involved. So I helped start the Student Opioid Coalition, or the SOC, to funnel local college and health professional students into projects of the COAT. So far, the Student Coalition has over 50 students engaged in COAT projects, has hosted a Narcan training for health professional students, and is organizing community resources to educate and prevent opiate overdoses. If there's anything that the Miami Valley Music Fest has taught me, is that a team full of action-oriented individuals is capable of fulfilling a community need, but it takes action. As the opioid epidemic continues to grow, so does our call to action. We need people willing to take action along the COAT to stand up for those suffering from the disease of addiction. If there's anything that med school has taught me, it's that we are called to heal the broken regardless of their past. The perspective, why help people that aren't helping themselves, is being challenged every single day as new research shows the dramatic changes that occur in the brain even after one dose of a prescription opioid. This illness is not a personality flaw, and it is nothing that someone can tackle alone. They need our help. The simplest thing that you can do to hack the opioid epidemic in Dayton is this: convince someone that an opioid addict is a real living person capable of love. Not just a no-good junkie with a needle in their arm. Because it was their decision. It's never just their decision. So get involved with the COAT, or the Student Opioid Coalition. Come talk to me later if you'd like more information. We need your help. Dayton needs our help, and people like Doug need our help. I envision a day when our hard work has put an end to this opioid epidemic. Maybe at that time we will be able to escape from our duties for a bit and watch a vibrant society unbound by the chains of opioid addiction. That will be a great feeling. I believe Doug will be there. I believe he's with us today in his song when he says, "We can make it if we try." Now is the time for us to try. Thank you.